Joining us is former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Welcome, Mr. Secretary. Wonderful to see you, as always. President Trump mentioned Ukraine reclaiming lost land, shooting down Russian assets. Is this a shift in policy or a clarification of existing policy in your judgment?
Well, Trey, it's great to be with you as always. Look, my sense is President Trump has given Vladimir Putin every chance to settle this out, to find a peaceful solution, and Vladimir Putin has rejected every one of those efforts. You saw a really diligent try in Anchorage in Alaska to get a good outcome for the world, and Putin just thumbed his nose. And so what I think you're seeing is President Trump saying, fine, we can do this a different way. Trey, no one should forget, and it's not a perfect parallel. He gave the Iranians a similar warning, and then we had 12 days of hell rain down on them. I think Vladimir Putin will have to come see that expanding this war will be proved to be a mistake, that the Europeans will do their part and the United States will do its, and that in the end, Putin has got to decide that the costs exceed the benefits, and I think President Trump is prepared to make that so.
All right, let's span the globe since I have you. Benjamin Netanyahu also spoke at the UN. There are some members of his coalition who have called for annexing Gaza and the West Bank. I've never heard President Trump do that. I've never heard that be the official U.S. foreign policy. What do you think the U.S. current policy or position is on Gaza, the West Bank, getting the moderate Arab countries back re-engaged, long-term peace prospects in the Middle East?
Yeah, Trey, my sense is that President Trump is determined to do just that. He's determined first to make sure that Israel can do everything it needs to do to guarantee its own sovereignty and security. And so you've seen us continue to provide support to them against Iran, as I spoke about just a few minutes ago. I think President Trump also wants to see a peaceful resolution, and so has spent an awful lot of time trying to convince the Gulf Arab states that they should be part of this resolution. I think he's made real progress there. But I don't think anyone for a moment should think that President Trump is going to allow the Iranians to continue to pose a threat to the region, to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia or the UAE, or frankly to American interests in the region as well. And so what President Trump has done, much like we did in the first Trump administration, right? We've delivered an outcome that says Israel is our friend and partner, a longtime ally, check. Iran, bad, check. Gulf Arab states want to be alongside of us in that check, and I think that's in the end. That's how we get these hostages home from being held by these terrorists inside of Gaza, and how we ultimately come to a more peaceful, more prosperous region in the decades that follow, Trey.
All right, let's move to this hemisphere. What do you make of what's going on in Venezuela? Do you think the U.S. wants to see Maduro replaced? Who comes after him? What should we be watching for in Venezuela?
Well, Trey, these actually, I don't think, are completely disconnected, right? Russia is supporting the Venezuelans. Russia and Iran are in cahoots. The Chinese Communist Party is backing each of these terrible authoritarian regimes that do brutal things to their own people. Now, as for Venezuela, I think President Trump is making this part of the Western Hemisphere effort to stop the drugs from infiltrating our country and poisoning our kids and our families and communities. And so I think the actions you've seen taken in the last weeks, they're not about regime change in Venezuela. They are about protecting America from the cartels and protecting America from our adversaries who are trying to do us harm from those places. And so, if you asked would they prefer to see someone other than Maduro, I suspect they would. That was certainly our view when I was a Secretary of State. But it's not the case that that's going to happen from the outside. That will be the Venezuelan people given an opportunity, seizing upon making lives better for themselves. And so I applaud what President Trump's doing in on our home court here in the Western Hemisphere. I think that will keep us all safer and more secure as the years go on.
All right, before I let you go, West Point, served in uniform, House Intel, CIA Director, Secretary of State, incredible resume. What are you looking at that maybe the rest of us aren't looking at as you span the globe? What's something that draws Mike Pompeo's attention?
I continue to think, Trey, that immigration is going to be a very dominant issue in the next 5 to 10 years, not just the way we've tackled it in the second Trump administration on our southern border, the way the United States has tackled it, but immigration out of Africa. It's going to be, the Western populations in Europe and even here are not growing. They're growing below the equator. That migration is going to cause real challenges. And you see it already, Trey. They see the front end of it in London and in Paris with massive migration issues. we need to keep an eye on this.
Great to see you as always. You take care.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.